Welcome to Let's Talk Travel with George and Deanna. Here's the big question for tonight. Are you feeling stuck? Probably go to therapy. Are you suffering from loss and grief? Probably go to therapy. Burnout? You go to therapy. Or you could just get on an airplane with us and fly away. There are a lot of new studies out that have been talking about therapy and travel. So we thought we'd bring in a therapist tonight. Ghytana is on the line with us. Tell us a little bit, first of all, about you and about your practice. You're in Houston. Tell us a little bit about what you do.
So I am a licensed professional counselor here at Adamantine Psychotherapy and Counseling Services. And so we provide individual therapy along with group therapy, and we do immigration assessments here. And so we treat everything from anxiety to depression, any trauma, grief as well, ADHD, and autism, just to name a few.
And probably she doesn't endorse my opening that jumping on an airplane would solve all of your problems. But we've been hearing about these studies, and a lot of people have seen it on social media. Travel can change you more. Travel can do for you what therapy has done or hasn't done, or all of that. So I guess as we start out, we've heard about all the studies and just wanted to know, is there something about travel that can make the brain change a little bit? I mean, we've seen all this online.
Well, let me just start. As a therapist, I have to say it doesn't replace therapy, but I can say that traveling shakes the brain up. So what happens is, and in a good way. So let's say we fall into a depression. We have that day-to-day routine. We know what our day is going to look like. We go home after work. We do the same things. What makes traveling such a therapeutic experience is shaking up the monotony. It's not the same thing. We're not doing the same thing. We are out of the rut, so to speak. We're out of the routine. And so we are learning something new. It's like that dopamine boost that we need versus the day-to-day life where we're just because if you think about it, even before you travel, you start to get excited.
Hmm.
We're excited when we do the shopping for it. We're excited when we're packing for it. Headed to the airport, you see it all the time. People are on social media sharing these experiences. And then we get there and all of this stuff. And so that's what it is. Because one thing I tell my clients who are depressed is you have to be intentional. Don't feed the depression. And to do that, you got to get up and get out.
Well, you know what? We talk about that a lot too. That again, with just us, sometimes you get stuck in a rut. And for those of us, I'm recently retired. I mean, it was every day, 3:15, the alarm went off. You go to work, you do this, you come home, and it was fine. I liked it. I loved what I did as work, but it still was a rut. And you are absolutely right. There is something about looking forward to that next trip or looking forward to that first trip or whatever that does kind of shake the brain up.
Oh, absolutely. I like all the shopping for it. I think that takes you out of a rut right away.
So you're doing retail therapy as part of the therapy. Okay. So no, I find it interesting because again, we've had so many people that have sent us the social media things and said, oh, this sounds like us or whatever. But if somebody is stuck, if somebody is maybe suffering a little bit from depression or feeling in that rut, what is like that first step? You talked about being intentional. What is that first step you would tell people to do?
So the first step is the acceptance and admitting. I can't tell you how many people come in and they say, oh, I feel a little sad. I think I'm a little depressed. And so what they don't realize is that their baseline has been flat for so long. We've been in that rut for such a long time. We don't even recognize it anymore. And so when it comes to something like you say, burnout, the interruption of it, but the first step is admitting. We don't usually admit something until we're already down in it. No
Hmm.
one says, hey, I'm headed to burnout. I'm headed to depression. No, no. We're already depressed, down and out, exhausted, can't get out of bed, burnt out. The thought of going to work is just, I don't want to, I'm sitting in the car 10 minutes and don't want to get out. And so the first step is the admitting, and the second step is the plan.
Hmm. Okay, all right. The plan. So talk to us about the plan. What's that? What does that look like?
So after we admit, oh, okay, I think I've sunk down, or I think I'm at burnout, or I feel overwhelmed with just what's happening in my life, because life is so fast now, right? And so the plan would be, what am I going to do? Am I going to take if I can't afford to take a week-long trip? I know you guys go out of the country, you do all these amazing things. What if I can't do that? What if I
Hmm.
don't have the childcare? I don't have this. I call them staycations. You can do staycations. You can do small trips. If I'm in Houston and I want to go to San Antonio, Austin, Dallas, I'm still within Texas. I still can drive there, spend the night, and come back. You don't realize how overwhelmed you are until you get somewhere else where you can actually breathe, think, feel. And then
Hmm.
you're like, oh, man. You know, that first day you get there, you talk about the stuff you're going to do, but you end up not doing much of anything that first day.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, that's
It's
exactly
like
it. Yeah.
jet lag, but for your
Yeah,
brain.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly
Yeah.
right. So,
And we put it off on traveling. But guess what? If we were at home, we would have been working just as much, right?
hmm. Hmm.
Mhm. So
Yeah,
what that
that's true.
is my body regulating to where I am now, and I finally can embrace that exhaustion.
So I hear that people should plan ahead and travel before they get burned out. So just like
Absolutely.
therapeutically, you should travel all the time, right? You should just skip work, right?
Yeah.
Yes, actually.
Yeah.
um,
Well, we,
I
we talk about it. I'm sorry. We talk about it a lot, though, with people that we know. And so many of the people that do travel with us on the trips across, to Europe or whatever, are also people that do exactly what you're talking about. They take the weekend and drive, to the Rio Grande Valley, or they go down to the coast, or they do whatever. They're always out there doing something. Because I think travel, like you said, it does break those old patterns, doesn't it?
Mhm. Absolutely. Absolutely. So you think about it, we encourage people in a therapeutic setting to date themselves, to get out once a week, right? We do things as a couple, sure, but we're talking about individual, because when you go to therapy, you are alone. And so
Hmm.
we want you to do that once a week. So we also encourage those outings. And when I say outings, well, I can go to dinner on a Wednesday, I can go to the movies on a Tuesday, but if I want to go to a winery, we go to Fredericksburg here, not too far from Houston, and they have all these wineries. I might do that for the weekend and try different wineries, right? I've broken up what I normally do. My brain wasn't expecting it. Like my body wasn't expecting it. I'm doing something different. I had something to look forward to. I'm going to try new wines. Who doesn't love to try new wines? I'm going I'm going to do different experiences. A winery is usually beautiful and they can be a lot of fun. I always say I'm learning how to swivel it around in my glass and the smell of it and all of these things, and really enjoying the experience. And then when you come back from vacation, you feel good.
Yeah.
If you're like me, you're tired because you did too much on vacation, but it's not the same kind of tired mentally from going to do the work every day. That's more of a physical exertion because I've just been on the move so much. There's a
Hmm.
very different tired.
So that kind of leads in. I love the we should date ourselves. We have a lot of singles, solo travelers. We have a lot of people who are hesitant to get out there. They've been in the workforce for a long time. They've done everything as a group or as a couple or whatever. And now they want to get out. What advice would you have to give to someone who's really hesitant about taking that first step?
Start small. When it comes to dating yourself, we do small stuff because I have had people who have never even been to dinner by themselves, let alone went
Wow.
to a concert or a market I love to go to a market by myself. Nobody's there to rush me like my husband. No one's checking how much money I've spent just because I went to the car and dropped bags off and went back. So, but being able to do those small things, and then you take yourself on that small trip. And then the next thing you know, you go a little bit bigger, a little bit longer. And that doesn't mean that you still can't do the excursions. That doesn't mean that, I can't go to some beautiful place and just frolic because I'm alone. And we have to learn to be okay with being around us and being able to take off the mask.
Being with ourselves. I think
Mhm.
that's good. It's been interesting because we feel like, again, our mission, if you will, is to help those people like Deanna was talking about that are so hesitant. And we've had so many success stories, I guess. I mean, we've had people that have said, "Hey, I've never traveled internationally, but I've always wanted to go to Italy, or I've always wanted to go to, this place or that place." And they take that first trip with us because we always say, you might be traveling solo, but you're never alone. And I
Mhm.
think we offer that kind of that buffer step, if you will.
Mhm.
Hey, you're going to be in Europe, but you're going to be surrounded by people. You can hang out with us as much as you want to, or you can go off on your own and go to a market or go to a museum by yourself or whatever. And then we've seen so many of those people that take that first trip or that first couple of trips, and then they come back and they call Deanna. We had one lady who called her and said, "Okay, I'm going to go to Greece all by myself. And will you help me
Yes.
just kind of lay out the itinerary?" And it's like you love to see that. And that's honestly
Mhm.
when we started seeing these stories about how travel does some of the same stuff as therapy, we were like, that's so true. We've seen it in our people. And
Mhm.
and I think that sometimes that intermediate step can really be helpful, correct?
Absolutely. And I know when you and I talked previously, I mentioned like I would love to do this. The reason being is just what you said. For someone who has never traveled alone, kind of want that experience. And I love that you said, you guys are in a group chat and you do all these things before, so we kind of get familiar with those people. But I have the autonomy to go off if I want to. I have the
Mm,
autonomy to still explore. So it gives me that cushion of not being alone, but still saying no one in Ghytana's immediate circle is there. And so
yeah.
that's the branch off that we want. That's the shaking of the brain that we want to give you something different. And the beautiful thing about traveling is sometimes we're consumed by our world. I don't know if you've heard it when they say H Town strong, Texas strong. We have all these things where people love where they're from, and that's beautiful. But traveling gives you an opportunity to see just how big this world is.
Mhm,
Yes.
mhm.
Yes.
And it really helps put your stuff in perspective. Like, okay, maybe that breakdown I did at lunch wasn't as bad as
It
I
wasn't as
thought
bad
it
as I
was.
thought. Yeah. What do you say to people that have also told us, I feel like a different version of myself when we travel?
Mhm.
Is that true? I guess it is kind of a different version of us, right?
It is. As you continue to, well, you have to keep in mind too, when you went to Vegas at 21, I,
Yep, I
Did
remember.
we do that?
that's not what, now when I went at 31, I was bungee jumping off the side of a building in old Vegas. And so, as you start to get older and your interests change, you are a different person. And the same thing happens when traveling. What I used to like to do when I would go, even just going, I remember when Cancun was the big thing when I was growing up. Oh my goodness, to turn 21 and go to Cancun. Now I couldn't imagine at 45 going to Cancun. I want something a little bit more quiet, a little bit more reserved, right? I don't want that kind of resort. And so, but it gives you that space to kind of breathe, be yourself. I know I worked in corporate before I became a therapist, and there's a certain expectation of behavior, of look, of personality. We mask sometimes. Even if you don't feel good and you have that meeting, I still have to go in and kind of put on for the meeting or, show up in a certain kind of way. On vacation, if I don't want to get out of bed, I ain't got to get out of bed. If I want to drink beachside, I can drink beachside. I can read a book and get sunburned. I can fall asleep. And I've done this. And the book was landing on my face.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
When I woke
Absolutely.
up. And guess what? I looked around and no one cared that I had fell asleep when I was reading this book. And so that's how you're a different person. It's because I can now finally breathe and just exist.
I love that. Love that. Love that.
Is there a way to travel intentionally to feel that? I mean, is there a way to think about going that makes you take your mask off and really, intentionally shake your brain up? Is that I guess that is a thing, but can you?
Yeah,
I'm
there's
kind of
just a couple
stumbling
of
here.
things that
You know
you
what I'm
would
talking
give
about?
to people. It's like as you get ready to travel,
Right.
what are a couple of things you could do intentionally to get the most out of that, shaking yourself up?
So one thing to do, because I've traveled with people and their depression came right along with us, right? They
Right.
don't really want to go anywhere. They're kind of isolated. They're kind of just giving you that half smile. It's to be intentional. As a therapist, I've had to learn when I'm off the clock, I'm off the clock. Otherwise, people's trauma was coming home with me. And
Mhm.
so you have to remember when you're vacationing, you're vacationing. Turn the cell phone off. Turn the work, well, not, I mean, your work phone. I mean, obviously you would have your personal, but turn your work phone off. No checking of the emails. Leave that behind. And so be intentional, even if I don't feel like doing much. I'm going on a cruise and we know I work 2 jobs. I'm getting my PhD, so I'm exhausted. So I did one ex,
Excursion. Yeah.
excursion. I'm doing one excursion. The rest of the time, I just want to exist on the boat. Okay. And
Mhm.
so maybe having a plan where I might go to the museum, but I don't want to spend all day at the museum.
Right.
Right? Just look at a couple of pieces, kind of get the experience, look at, and then when you feel yourself starting to sink your social battery coming down, go back and recoup. And so that's one way you can get the best out of it. If it's one of those things where I'm being intentional, I know I'm depressed, but I need to shake things up. Don't feel like when I get there, I need to pretend like I'm so happy. That doesn't work. But being intentional as to not just, I went now to Europe and I haven't tasted any food, I haven't done anything. So remember, we talked about some of your people maybe have an accountability partner. Hey, I'm going through something. So if you see me sitting in my room a little too much, knock on the door and invite me to lunch, brunch. Come out with just one of us for one activity, and then we'll leave you alone. And so that's being intentional and getting the best out of it, even though we might not feel the best. Over time, we train our brain and it gets better.
I love it. Ghytana, you've been so wonderful. Thank you. And again, we are not recommending travel over therapy, but it's been interesting for us as we kind of dug into some of this, the parallels between the two, and you have highlighted them beautifully today. So thank you so much. Tell people again, if they're watching in Houston, we have a lot of folks that travel out of Houston. Tell us again where they can find you and how to get in touch with you.
So you can find me. I have a website, Adamantine Psychotherapy. I'm licensed in not only Texas, but Florida and Alabama. So, and then you can reach me on all social media platforms.
All right, and we'll link up those in the comments too tonight. So kind of a different episode for us tonight on Let's Talk Travel, but I think an important episode. And I think it hits at what we do.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, we have been so interested in reading up on this and finding like, here are things that we already did naturally, but I feel like that's really what sets us apart from just going on a trip or just joining a group and going along. Is I feel like those things that we've been doing kind of naturally already feed into this. So I love
Absolutely.
that. So Thank you so much. And I just want to acknowledge you for what you do, because I know that a lot of that probably does come home on you. And all of us out here appreciate those in your position and what you do. And I just want to acknowledge you for stepping out and being with us on the show tonight. I know this is not your comfort zone, so I appreciate you stepping outside of that just a little bit.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you for having me. I enjoyed.
Thank you.